The 3DS started out as a revolutionary handheld that displayed stereoscopic 3D images without the use of special glasses. It ended as a bigger XL console that only displayed games in 2D. Between the two, there were 4 other 3DS models. How did it get this way? And more importantly, why? The original 3DS released in 2011, being the successor to the DS line of handhelds. The 3DS is backwards compatible with most DS games and retains the clamshell design, keeping the DS lineage alive. This first 3DS console was made to look like a premium device that wasn't exclusively meant to be played by children, but adults as well. It feels premium and has small details that would only be included with this model, those being the small metal-like accents on the back near the cartridge slot, the 3D slider that looks like it too is made of metal. The stylus is actually made from metal and telescopes to be longer or shorter. The outside shell is made of a thick plastic that feels sturdy and robust. These touches made for a good quality console. Though, it's not completely perfect. The thick plastic shell on the top screen makes it top-heavy, making it wobbly. It can also become uncomfortable to play for long periods of time. The start, select, and home buttons are also not ideal. Their location is perfectly fine. It's what they are that makes them not ideal, because they're not separate buttons. Nintendo put a single plastic strip over the top of them. This seemed outdated when it was first released, and looking back, it was. Though, this original model was the introduction to something phenomenal: glasses-free 3D. Not 3D like how the N64 has 3D games, but real 3D, the kind that jumps out at you and sinks back into the screen. It's amazing, and nothing like it has ever been done before. You could adjust the 3D level with the slider on the right side, and when it was activated, this little green light would turn on and let you know. It's a nice detail. Though there's a problem with the 3D effect on this console. It only works if you keep completely still when you play it. You have to keep your head in the exact right spot for it to work, or the screen will appear to be jumping around all over and give you double vision. This is a problem because the 3DS is a portable system. Most players were playing it on the go. Keeping still in the car, on a bus, or an airplane is difficult. But even playing it on a stationary couch isn't ideal because of the small window you have to stay in. This unfortunately gave the 3D effect a bad perception for the entire lifespan of 3DS consoles. Nintendo did a really good job designing this 3DS. It was compact and felt really good, though there was room for improvement. In 2012, Nintendo came out with a fully redesigned 3DS console, again following in the footsteps of the DS. This one is bigger and carries the XL moniker, which is the biggest difference between the two consoles, though there were many other changes made to it. The corners have also been rounded, and the top is a slight dome shape, with the edges gradually sloping down to the middle of the console. The start, select, and home buttons were also changed. They are separate buttons now, making them feel far and away better than the originals. The metal accents aren't here either. Everything is plastic, and Nintendo didn't hide that it's plastic. The 3D light next to the 3D slider was removed in favor of molded 3D lettering. There's also an off position you can click the slider into when you don't want the 3D on at all. The original 3DS just had a smooth slide all the way through the range. The stylus was also changed to be a solid piece of plastic, which was a perfectly fine change. Nintendo also moved it from the back over to the right side. It's a very convenient place for it. The SD card slot was also moved from the left to the right side. The speaker grills were also changed to have 9 holes instead of 5. The whole console has a matte finish compared to the ultra-glossy shell of the 3DS. All in all, the 3DS XL changed most of the shortcomings of the original 3DS. The only thing that remained that really needed to be overhauled was the 3D effect. It's the same as the original. Even though it can really enhance a game, if you're not lined up correctly, that experience will be hampered instead of enhanced. The console is also top-heavy, but that comes with all the features the top screen has. The 2DS was created to fill a particular gap in the handheld market, one aimed directly at children. It's designed straight from what had come previously. The hinge was dropped in favor of a solid body, bringing back the aesthetic of the Game Boy line, and hadn't been seen since the Game Boy Micro. This one is odd. It has a wedge shape which creates a unique feeling in your hands. Most are divided on their stance with this console. Some people think it's the most comfortable. Others claim it's the least comfortable. All we know is, it's the most different out of all the 3DS consoles. The buttons are in the same layout as the previous two versions, though they are lined up with the top screen instead of the bottom screen, which takes some getting used to. The start and select buttons were moved to the right side under the action buttons, and the home button remained at the bottom in the center. It gives the 2DS a really clean look. The shoulder buttons wrap around the corners, giving a really good feel to them when they're pressed. There's only one speaker, but if you want stereo sound, you can use headphones. The SD card slot was changed to have a door that hinges up and down, instead of the rubber plug that was used in the 3DS and 3DS XL. The 2DS wasn't created to make up or correct a design flaw. It was made to fill a particular gap in Nintendo's own handheld lineup. It's a sturdy console that can take a fall. After the 2DS was released, Nintendo had 3 options to choose from. They didn't need to keep going with new versions, but they did. And what was to come made all the difference in the world. It addressed the one major setback to both of the previous 3DS consoles. Nintendo made a new 3DS and a new 3DS XL, and they were called that, the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL. Their sizes are comparable to their original counterparts. The biggest difference between them is the inclusion of face tracking. This stabilized the 3D effect, and really made playing 3DS games unlike anything else. Going from having to sit in an exact position with very little wiggle room to having the ability to get comfortable and play in a relaxed state changed the 3DS. The 3D was no longer just a gimmick, it was a real selling point. Games are immersive with real depth perception. Playing a top-down Zelda game where you change the floor you are on in real space is mind-blowing. It can't be understated just how revolutionary playing games in 3D is. But that wasn't the only thing Nintendo changed. The start, select, and home buttons were all altered to reflect what had been implemented on the 2DS. A single home button remained below the bottom screen, while start and select were moved to the right side below the action buttons. This gives these models a clean, modern look. Nintendo also went ahead and added a few new buttons. There are 2 new shoulder buttons, making it 4 total, and there's a new stick that looks like an eraser from a pencil. They call it the C-Stick. Both of these consoles are more powerful with better processors, making games load quicker and making transitions between games and the home screen snappy. The speaker grills were changed back to the 5-hole design seen on the original 3DS, and the volume slider was moved to the left side on the top screen. The game cartridge slot was moved to the front of the console along with the stylus and the power button. The new 3DS has swappable faceplates that makes customizing them really easy and completely transforms them into totally new looking consoles. The new 3DS XL doesn't have this design, though you're going to have to take off the back plate on both consoles to access the SD card. Nintendo decided that this was the best place for it, making it incredibly inconvenient to access, which is baffling. No other 3DS console or even Nintendo console has this design. It wasn't a good change and is the one major drawback to these consoles. The shell was redesigned to have more square edges compared to the 3DS XL, though the corners remained rounded. Most of the new 3DS XL models are ultra glossy, which is contrary to the original 3DS XL, with exception to the Super Nintendo and Super Famicom Special Editions. In contrast, the new 3DS was primarily made with a matte finish, being the opposite of the original 3DS. These models also changed the colors of the face buttons that were featured on the Super Famicom and PAL Super Nintendo controllers. The new 3DS changed the colors of the entire buttons, while the new 3DS XL only has the letters colored. NFC support was also integrated into the bottom screen, so you don't have to use the external NFC reader to use amiibos like the older models. SD cards were also changed from the standard size to microSD. These 2 models have also become highly sought after because some were made with IPS displays, which differ from the TN screens of previous models. Some were made with a single IPS display on the top or bottom, but a lucky few were made with both. These 2 models can play a few games the 3DS, 3DS XL, and 2DS can't, including the Super Nintendo games on the Virtual Console. These are top-tier handheld consoles and have become incredibly popular. They refined and improved what was done on the previous 3DS and 2DS consoles. Nintendo refined both of the original 3DS models with much needed improvements with the new versions. But they weren't done yet. The 2DS was left out there floating all by itself until Nintendo decided to overhaul it. The final 3DS console design came out as a revised 2DS. The new 2DS XL implemented most of the improvements the other new 3DS consoles made, like the faster processor, the C-stick, and the additional shoulder buttons, but also went a step further and made even better changes. The SD card slot was moved to the front of the console next to the game cartridge slot, and Nintendo added a rubber plug like the original 3DS and 3DS XL. This one also covers the cartridge slot. The home button was moved from below the bottom screen to the left side under the D-pad. The volume slider was also moved to the left side away from the top screen. The two cameras that were on the other 3DS and 2DS models were left off this model. It has a matte finish, which makes them less prone to fingerprints and scuffs. The speakers were moved to the bottom of the system, making the top screen look extremely clean. Though, for some reason, Nintendo decided to leave the little nubs off the bottom of this system, making it really easy to scratch. The biggest difference between this new console and the other new consoles is the lack of the 3D effect. It's good to see that Nintendo decided to accommodate those players that don't use the 3D and offered the new 2DS XL at a lower price point. Some people think this is the very best 3DS console, while others see it as unnecessary. I was under the impression that the vast majority of 3DS players prefer the new 2DS XL over all the other models. After doing my own poll about which model people prefer, it wasn't even a close second. The new 3DS XL won the poll easily. I guess that's because you can turn the new 3DS XL into a 2DS with a quick slide. The new 2DS XL would be the final system in the 3DS family. Throughout the years, Nintendo refined the 3DS. Over and over, we were given versions of consoles we loved, almost tailoring a model for just about everybody. Nintendo could have rested on their laurels and been content with the original 3 versions, the original 2 models, or the very first 3DS. But lucky for us, they didn't. We were given multiple options to accommodate our wants, needs, and budgets. Small steps were taken to make the ultimate portable system. Coupled with a stellar library of games, the 3DS overshadows most other handheld consoles. The journey took years, cementing memories along the way. There are 6 3DS models, each adding upon what the previous offered. Which model do you prefer?